all amateur golfers, we know we're supposed to maintain lag into impact, right? We do a lousy job of knowing how to do that most of the time. You see this a lot more than I do. For me, I was kind of taught lag is getting the hands to the golf ball before the club head gets to the golf ball, speaking in a left to right from the player's perspective frame of reference, right? But the reality of it is the golf club's moving in multiple directions at the same time, right? It's moving up and down, it's moving right to left, it's moving back to front. And lag actually refers to a lot more than that. It's not just the hands getting to the golf ball before the club head on a to the target away from the target reference. So how should golfers be thinking about how to create lag? Because it's the number one correlator to hitting good golf shots, hitting powerful golf shots, swing speed, ball speed, everything that a player is looking for comes from lag. And we have absolutely no idea how to create it.
So one of the first misconceptions is how much lag do we need? All we can really create with this lead wrist joint and the club shaft is an L, a 90 degree, right? Because we look at a lot of swings face on, you see tour pros like Sergio is one of the most popular with this. They were like, look at the lag he creates in his downswing. So this is the same amount, 90 degrees, but as soon as I tip it this way, now that angle looks more acute. It looks like there's more lag than possible. So it's a trick of the camera more than anything. Okay. So first of all, how much lag do we need? Well, if you can do this, that's all the lag you need. And then whenever everything starts to shift and uncoil, here, gravity and this wrist hinge, the head of the club is still stacked on top of the hand, right? So anybody can do this. Anybody can hold this. But as soon as you start turning, it has to come out. Where a lot of people get in trouble is they're still trying to pull, and then they have to flip it out later, try to do something, or they have to back out of it this way to try and get some loft on the club. Otherwise, they'd smother it. Another reason that is a problem for them, or what something that happens, is they try to hold this lag by turning it this way, because the only way that the lag is going to get out is if the head gets outside of being stacked on top of the hand. This is another reason why shallowing is so important for a lot of people, is because when the club is down here, you can turn all you want. It's not coming out.
Well, that's a really popular trend in the game right now, and it's one that I've been working on, honestly. I get to the top and I've created all this lag, and I know how to, in my mind, I'm saying created the lag, right? Creating the angles. Now all I've got to do is turn until the club head finds the golf ball. Well, I mean, my gosh, I've got to turn all the way to the target. I've got to be chest at the target to get that angle back.
To get that angle back, correct.
But as you come down, and I was talking to somebody about this morning, we forget sometimes that the club head has weight and the earth has gravity. The two of those things combined are going to make the club head do some things and then make your hands and body do some things, whether you mean for them to or not. So as you're coming in here, if you're trying to hold that angle, you're trying to work against the earth and the gravity as you're coming through there to hold that angle. Where if you're turning correctly and you're putting yourself in the right position, gravity is going to be an assist, not a hindrance to you. So that right when it needs to, it just pops right down into the golf ball.
Yep. So tension, the right amount of tension is good in the golf swing. The right amount of tension in the right places is good in the golf swing. But what we don't want is to continue to create tension all the way through here. Because then when it finally does come out, it's going to come back into us, right?
I know that move very well.
That's
a Garrett special, yeah.
Yeah. So we have to be careful with what our intention is and what we're trying to do. But really all we have to do is if we can get to here, that's all the lag we need. Then as our body starts to slow down, we start to go more vertical, it comes out. That's all the shaft angle or the shaft lean you need at impact. This idea that we've got to get in here, right, is just a flawed concept, because now I've taken a 5-iron, turned it into a 2-iron, right? And now I have to bend and get all the way down here just to get back to the ball, right like this. What are we doing? Okay. So all we have to do, if you can do this, hinge, shift, drop, that's all the lag you need. And then it comes out. You won't find much more than that in any other golfer that you're going to see from PGA to LPGA. What happens a lot of times with people too is they are not allowed to create lag because from the top, the club gets out this way. Now it's outside my hands and it's already falling down. So a big part of that is an incorrect downswing sequence. The club's now, I can feel the weight getting outside my hands. It's going to let out. So that's where, again, if we can go here, and not come over the top. Like you can do that and you can feel the weight of the club as soon as it gets outside of your hand.
To the point that you're making there and the point that I was just making about gravity, once I transition from the top, the club is not just moving one direction. It's not just coming down to the ground. It's also moving out towards the ball. So anything that I do that lets the weight of the club head get too far this way is going to make it
correct.
Gravity's going to tip it over. Same
we
thing
want to
here.
use gravity
if I do something
correctly. Yep.
If I let it get past the point here, then you're going to lose this angle.
Yep. Take the top, make that L. Now make an incorrect forward swing move where you come over the top this way and relax the wrists. You'll feel the club get out the weight outside of there. Versus if we go up to the top, the club stays behind the hands a little bit. Now you're not fighting against the club. Now it's working with you. And now once you get to here, it can come out, right? Because it's going to be timed with the turn. And do that in slow motion, and you'll see on the face on camera, you'll have all the shaft lean you need. Don't hit the ball just like super slow motion. Yep. It's perfect 90, perfect 90, perfect 90. Now the weight gets outside of the hands. It's no longer stacked, and it's going to let out as you start to extend and come up in the shot. Plenty of shaft lean. Don't need any more than that. But there's not much more you have to do other than that. You don't have to manufacture lag. You don't have to create anything. You just have to not ruin it, and you have to not try to help it by throwing and scooping your hands at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and it's funny too, as we're doing this, and you're saying bring it down. I'm bringing it all the way in front of me and still holding the lag. That feels correct to me. You're telling me at this point is when you're going to start to lose that angle. But the thing that we forget is that we're still turning as that's happening.
Correct.
Right?
It all moves together.
When we get into the impact position from the face on camera here, if you are in this huge lean position here, what are you planning on doing with all this angle between, if you release it, your low point is all the way out here, well past where the golf ball's long gone by the time you get to the low point.
It's a great way to hit a stinger if you absolutely had to, but aside from that,
or bury the golf ball in the ground, it's got to go somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So you're talking. It's funny when I brought up the concept of we need to do a video on lag. Mm-hmm. The very first thing you talked about was this angle. Mm-hmm. Totally the opposite angle of what I think of with lag. Mm-hmm. I've always kind of thought of lag falsely as this angle, the wrist bend, trying to get into impact and still feeling, hand down or, feeling like I've got that right wrist bent into impact. That would be, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, what you refer to as shaft lean.
Yeah, that's how much the shaft is leaning forward or backward at impact, right? So it's directly correlated to how much right wrist extension you have at impact, right? So I can lean the hands this way. That makes this angle bigger. If I go this way, obviously I have no shaft lean. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. And it's directly related to dynamic loft too. So the loft you have built into a club versus how much is delivered at impact. We don't need an excessive, crazy amount of forward shaft lean. I mean, that's built into the design of the club, right? It's not something you have to manufacture. So yes, right wrist extension, that is a part of it. If you have right wrist extension, it is impossible. If you maintain this for the right amount of time, it's impossible to let it out and flip it. But again, all it is, this wrist goes like this wrist goes like this, you combine them, it goes to here, and then we're done. It's all out from there. But you don't have to pull it down. That's a problem a lot of people do. They're trying to manufacture this lag angle, and they sit here and they go, pull the bell rope like this. Cool. If you successfully did that, how in the world are you actually going to hit the golf ball from here? Right? Yeah, something like that. People are often trying to create something they see on TV. They see this position on TV, right? This L, this Sergio lag, pro lag, whatever. And they're trying to create that a lot of times by pulling down like this. Cool. You got all this angle. What are you going to do with it? You're going to have to jump to get out of the way and so you don't smack it buried in the ground, right? Or you're going to have to try and turn around this way. Again, I've still got this lag. What are you actually going to practically do with that?
Yeah, right. I have actively practiced very hard at both of those moves in my life. The jump move and the turn. Yeah, I've done them both.